Trained to look for chaos as a sign of trouble, panic in the streets, blaring sirens, frantic news alerts. But what if the real warning sign is the opposite? What if it's just normality? People heading to work, the stock market climbing, pundits on every channel sounding perfectly confident. On the surface, everything looks fine. And that is precisely the danger. Our own minds can betray us. There's a cognitive flaw called normalcy bias, a deep-seated belief that things will just continue as they are. We unconsciously filter out the warning signs that disrupt our comfortable reality. History shows this pattern repeatedly. Right before the ground gives way, whether it was an ancient empire or a modern financial crisis, the vast majority of people were simply living their lives, convinced that nothing was fundamentally wrong. The greatest threat might not be the one you see coming. It's the one hiding in plain sight, disguised as just another Tuesday.
Think about the Titanic. On its maiden voyage, passengers danced on deck, celebrating in the grand ballroom. Nobody could imagine the disaster lurking in the icy waters. Or consider the 2008 financial crisis. Banks kept lending recklessly, investors kept buying toxic assets, and so-called experts kept reassuring everyone that the party would never end. Then reality arrived. The strange thing is, catastrophes like these rarely strike without warning. The signs are almost always there, visible for anyone who dares to look. Iceberg warnings were sent to the Titanic. Financial analysts were screaming about a housing bubble. The problem isn't a lack of information. It's that we choose to ignore it. Psychologists have a name for this: normalcy bias. It's our dangerous tendency to believe that just because something catastrophic hasn't happened before, it simply won't happen now. It's the whisper that tells us everything will be okay, right up until the moment it isn't.
It's a lesson we seem doomed to repeat. The final moments before a major collapse rarely feel like a crisis. They feel normal. The sun rises, people go to work, life continues along its familiar path. This illusion of stability is what makes the most dangerous words in any language. Everything is fine. It's a phrase born from our deep-seated normalcy bias, the belief that the future will look much like the past. We see this pattern in the ruins of great civilizations. They often reach their peak in power and resource consumption just a decade or two before their rapid decline. They couldn't see the cliff's edge because they were too busy admiring how far they'd come. The warning signs weren't loud alarms. They were quiet, creeping changes, a slow erosion of trust, a steady depletion of resources, a gradual shift in the climate. And by the time the danger is obvious to everyone, it's already too late.
History doesn't repeat itself. The specific dates, names, and places are always unique. But human behavior? That follows the same worn-out grooves. Think of the Titanic. It wasn't one mistake that sank the ship. It was a chain of ignored warnings, multiple ice reports received and dismissed, a stubborn belief in an unsinkable vessel that bred fatal overconfidence. The warning signs were flashing red, but the crew, caught up in the mission's grandeur, simply chose not to see them. They couldn't imagine a rupture point. That same human pattern, the dismissal of uncomfortable truths, the comfort of the status quo, it echoes today. We see it in the lead-up to financial crashes and in our response to environmental alarms. The scripts are frighteningly similar. If this idea resonates with you, subscribe to The Rupture Point. And remember, the warning signs are always there. The only question is whether we will choose to see them this time.